So what we're going to do now is slightly different. One of the injuries that sometimes happens after serious crashes are brain injuries. These are things that we really try to prevent in hospital because they often go on for a really long time. And unfortunately, they are far too common. And as we get better at preventing fatal crashes, we still have a significant number of these. So what we're going to hear from now are two very brave young people who are going to tell you their real-life stories about what happened to them. So please welcome Darby up on the stage. Here you go.
Hi guys, my name's Darby McLaughlin. I was a big party animal before my motorbike accident. This is me and my cute little brother sharing our birthday party together because our birthdays are so close. Before my accident, I really enjoyed going out dancing, making up my own dance moves. Also played football for Kellyville Polecats, and I loved working on cars. I had 3 cars. I was a fully qualified mechanic before my accident, and also worked at Heartland Holden Parramatta. In 2007, a friend gave me Suzuki RM125 motorbike in exchange for some work I did on his car. I went to go pick it up and decided to take it for a test ride. There were 3 problems. Didn't know how to ride the bike, didn't have no safety gear, had no helmet and no protective clothing. And the road was wet and slippery. I was a big tool at the time, dropped down the gears and the power band kicked in, chucking the bike in a massive ass wheelie. I lost control of the motorbike. I hit the curb, stacked the bike in front of a dude's house. The dude who lived there was actually a doctor. He looked after me until the ambulance arrived. They got there in just 10 minutes. I don't remember any of it, and I don't really want to. I had a broken shoulder, broken elbow, fractured skull, and bruising on my brain. When I look at these photos, I think, wow, is that me? Wow, I'm very lucky to be alive. It was very touch and go at the beginning. I had several operations on my brain. I was hooked up to tubes to breathe and eat. My family brought in a Canterbury Bulldogs bear because I'm a big Bulldogs fan. Go the doggies. In the early days, they had to tie my hands down so I couldn't pull out the tubes. You can see that my hands are fisted up, not because I'm a fighter, though I can be, just nerve messages are just mucked up. The 2 worst things about hospital, stuck in a wheelchair and being told that I was blind. It's not like my eyes don't work. My brain doesn't make sense what I see. I was in hospital for 12 months. I had to wear splints. I had to hold things to stretch my fingers so my hands didn't stay fisted up. 7 months after my accident, I had 12-hour surgery on my skull, and they put a titanium plate in my noggin. So now when I go for the airport, it's going to go beep, 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 beep. With my hair shaved off, plus another new scar, the birthday that I spent in hospital wasn't the best ever. After my rehab, I was discharged from Westmead Hospital a year and a day after my accident. I had to go live in a group home because I needed so much care. I've been living there now for 6 years. It was a long process, learning how to walk again. First I had to learn how to stand up with a tilt table, and then in a harness. And then I had to walk with a stick. So check out the video of my first attempt in 2009. My messages from my brain to my leg are mucked up too. So I used to use a gadget on my leg, gives me a zap to get me started. I called it my go-go gadget leg. It helped a lot. The gadget helped to walk again, and then even managed walking on the beach. And it's harder than what you think. Also would love to play football again, so I need to learn how to run again. I go to the gym 3 times a week. Now I do swimming. I've got to keep working on my rehab. It's like my job at the moment. For the last year and a half, I've been volunteering at Kemps Creek Animal Shelter, walking some puppy dogs. My left hand still doesn't work too good, and I was left-handed before my accident. I had to learn how to use my right hand. It makes it 3 times harder to do anything. My memory is absolutely shocking. It takes me a long time to remember things, but I eventually do. I've been looking forward to speaking to you guys. I just want you guys just to remember, please guys, be safe. Don't ever get on a bike with no safety gear. And don't show off chucking wheelies like me. Our next speaker today is Leah.
Hi, your imagination is a very powerful tool. Picture this. It's 2:30 in the morning, a cold, wet winter's night. You're in the passenger seat of a car doing more than 120 kilometers an hour. You smash into a telegraph pole. What do you think happened to the people in the car? In my early 20s, I was a very outgoing person. I loved partying and having adventures. I worked as a weight loss consultant with Jenny Craig and was a manager at a cafe called Fisher's in Double Bay. I was 22 when I was involved in a very serious car accident. My girlfriend Fiona was going to stay overnight at my place, but my Persian cat decided to poo all over the lounge room floor. Fiona couldn't handle the smell. She insisted on going home. She didn't have a car, and I wasn't up to driving from the Double Bay to pick her at night. So I found another friend, Anthony, and he agreed to drive us. It was raining heavily that night. Anthony was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and Fiona was asleep across the back seats. No one knows exactly how we ended up hitting a telegraph pole. The police estimated that Anthony was driving at 120 kilometers in a 60 kilometer speed zone. Fiona somehow managed to escape serious injury. Anthony and I took the full force of the crash. We only survived because we were wearing seatbelts. It took the emergency crew 2 hours to get us out of the wreck. I had to undergo emergency surgery to remove some of my intestines. I also suffered a broken pelvis. The most serious thing was an acquired brain injury. I was in a coma which lasted for 3.5 months. A few days after the accident, the doctors at the hospital told my parents that I was brain dead. There was no hope for me, but my parents refused to let the machines be turned off. My mother said, where there is life, there is hope. Something very strange had happened. My parents contacted a visiting Rebbe, a Jewish mystic of the Kabbalah tradition. He came to the hospital, stood next to my bed, he cried and prayed. He told my parents that I would live. Within a few hours, my condition had greatly improved. The following day, the doctors did turn off the life support machines, not to end my life, but because the machines were no longer needed. I was now able to breathe unassisted. Within 3 days, I was taken out of the intensive care unit. The doctor said it was a miracle. They had never seen anything like it before. I received intensive treatment, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and psychological counseling. I had a feeding tube inserted into my stomach for 1.5 years because I wasn't able to swallow. I was placed in a sling to be moved. I had very little muscle control. I was like a baby. I was very confused due to post-traumatic amnesia, which lasted for 2 months after I came out of the coma. Before I could learn to walk, I had to be able to stand. One of the treatments to help me was the tilt table. The physiotherapist pushed my knee down to straighten it. It was so painful, I called her the lady from hell. I spent a total of 2 years in hospital. For years, I had to be carried up and downstairs by my family, which was so humiliating, and it must have been awful for them too. Coming to terms with the changes the accident caused was stressful and made me very anxious. For a long time, it was hard to cope. I didn't accept the changes in myself. Then I started to learn how to take things slow and not to expect big changes without hard work. I don't like being seen as disabled, I'm just me. 21 years after the accident, I still go to the gym 3 times a week, have a personal trainer, and see a physio and hydrotherapist once a week. I really love to train. My walking is improving. This year, I progressed from walking with a frame to a walking stick. Not bad for someone the doctor said would never stand again. My goal is to walk without a stick within a year. I also love sharing my story with traffic offenders and school students through the Headies program. There are so many things I could have done if I didn't have the accident. I didn't realize how easily motor vehicle accidents can happen. I thought that nothing could ever happen to me on the roads, no matter what I did. But no one is immune. The reality is that death and injury can happen to anyone. It's everyone's responsibility. Please, take care on the roads. Be street smart. Thank you.